Hello everyone, my name is Dionesotes. I'm a seminarian for the Diocese of Peoria, studying for Mount St. Mary's Seminary up in Emmitsburg, Maryland. I first started discerning priesthood when I was in college. My faith formation began in high school, but I really didn't feel God calling me to be a priest until I got to college. It was actually after I took my first accounting exam, I quickly realized that that was not God's plan for me. And after that rough exam happened, I was sitting outside of a chapel on campus and just thinking to myself, praying without really knowing it, asking God, what do you want me to do with the rest of my life? So I was going through all the options. I could be an engineer, I could be a doctor, I could be a teacher. And this little thought popped into my head, and it was, maybe you could be a priest. And as soon as that thought popped into my head, joy, peace, zeal, like anything I'd ever known in my life. And from that moment on, the desire and the peace and the thought of priesthood never really left. So that was the first semester of college. However, fear started to set in. I stopped praying. I had contacted a priest, so I was in touch with the vocation director, but I was not seeking God anymore. I was running away from seminary, in fact, and the fear of surrendering my life to the Lord and to the priesthood was eating away at me. And every single time I'd go into the chapel, I'd think, God, can you please call me to something else, not the priesthood? And then I'd think about the priesthood for 1 second, and that little bit of peace would come back. And I'd get really angry at God. I'd say, Lord, I do not want to do this. But He kept remaining patient, and the peace never left. Yet the thought of giving my life over became too much. So as I went through college, I started to cut out prayer. And I realized that as I was cutting out prayer, I was cutting out the only peace that I had found in my life, the calling that the Lord had given me. And it was through prayer that I was communicating with God that He was giving me His peace. And so when I had stopped praying, the peace left, and anxiety and fear, all that started to set in. And that means I ran away from God more and more. And it wasn't until 2 years after I felt the initial call that I finally realized that I was shooting myself in the foot. I was the one who was causing all this unhappiness and all this unrest in my life, because I wasn't going back to the Lord in prayer, because I wasn't receiving His prayer or His peace in prayer. So I was doing a Totus Tuus, a summer catechetical program in my diocese over the summer, and that was a summer filled with prayer. And it was a summer that, through prayer, the Lord finally won over my heart and finally had shown me that real peace belongs in sacrifice, not in selfishness. And real peace belongs in surrender. And so as I was praying about that, I realized that going to seminary, one day being a priest, was exactly where God was calling me to be. That was exactly the peace that He had made me for. Not just the peace that He was trying to give me in that moment, but the peace that He had destined for me for my whole entire life and from all of eternity. So I've been in seminary for starting my 3rd year now in theology school, and it has been an absolutely amazing experience. And I have found more peace in these past couple years than I have my whole entire life. Yet at the same time, more struggle as I continue to deepen that surrender and deepen my prayer life with the Lord. And trips like these, the evangelization trips, help me to spread that peace that the Lord has given me with those around, especially those on campus who were going through the same struggles that I was going through, who were feeling the love of the Lord and running away from it, or who were succumbing to the voices of the world. But it's amazing how the love of God never leaves, never quits, but always patiently remains there through it all. And I can't thank Him enough for the gift of seminary and the gift of being able to share my faith with students from this campus, but also with my brothers at seminary and with my family back home. So the gift of this vocation has truly been a blessing.